Is it possible that a small, obscure change can create a trend? Maybe even a social movement? How can this be done? Hear my take on Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point in creating a movement in your own life, and of course, a whole lot more. You're tuned in to the Teacher Says Podcast right now. What's going on, beautiful people? We're back. It's episode 17, season 2, and probably will be season 2 for a long time of the Teacher Says Podcast. Yay! What's going on? I'm Sez. It's good to be back. I'm so happy to be here recording a day late, but never $1 short. Anyway, let me make sure right now, before I forget, that I request that you do me a little favor. I need for you to leave a 5-star review on your favorite podcatcher. Yes. Thank you in advance for doing it. In fact, you go ahead and press the pause button. Do it right now. It helps my little podcast be heard somewhere out there, far and near, wherever. Make sure that you are following me over social media as well. You can find all of that information in the show notes. I have to say I am quite delighted to see that my listenership has it has skyrocketed in the month of October. And I like to think that has to do with my having more consistency-ish in releasing episodes. I'm doing the best I can with what I have. I've said it every week. This is tough. It's a one-woman operation, and I still work full-time. I am a full-time mother as well, so I have to get in where I can fit in with these episodes, and it's my goal to do it weekly. I would try my best to do it the same day, but, things don't always happen the way you want them to. True story, like last night when I was going to bed, I was contemplating recording the episode from my phone, and I was like, I've done that before, but I'm not a fan of the sound quality when I do that. Like last year, I believe it was last year, I did ride-along episodes where I was recording episodes driving from work and driving to work, and it was fun. I enjoyed doing it. I'm a stickler, as I've said before, for sound quality. Doing the best with the budget I have, which is pretty much zero. At any rate, so it was nice to be able to record going to work. But, like I said, the sound wasn't what I wanted to be. And as always, well, I guess this is the first time I've requested, but you can always send me a donation if you're enjoying the show. It's very awkward to ask, but it would help finance everything going with podcasting. Like, you guys don't know, podcasting is not free, nor is it cheap. I mean, I guess you could find ways to do it for free, but, I pay a little bit of money monthly to keep my show on the podcast airwaves, I guess you could say. So, I pay for that, pay for, it would be nice to have a publicist or at least somebody like a social media, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a virtual assistant who could help me, publicize the show and put things out there a little bit more than I can do on my own. About years, it's 2020, so about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I was doing quite well financially, and I was able to hire a virtual assistant who could assist me with the show as far as social media. It was nice when I have it, but like Janet Jackson, or actually it was Joni Mitchell who said, you don't know what you got till it's gone. And unfortunately, I don't have the extra income like I did at that time that was before I had bought my car. So I had a car at that time that I had been driving around that was 14 years old. So, I had the extra income. But now I have a car payment quite large. So that income is non-existent. So yeah, would be nice to do. All right, enough of my rants. Let's go ahead and get back into what we talked about at the top of the show. All right, so full transparency, and I think I mentioned it last week. I got what initially is a free subscription to Audible. So I'm kind of on the fence if I'm going to keep it or not. One hand, it is great to save money by not having it, but on the other hand, I'm really enjoying reading all these audiobooks. And, I'm like, I can go the library route, of course, but I'm impatient. I want what I want when I want it. And then the library has audiobooks, I believe, that are free as long as you have a library card, but I don't have the patience. I like how Audible operates. So going back to the point, so I read Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point, and it had me thinking, I want to share with you guys, what kind of small changes can we make to create bigger trends in our own life? And I'm going to share is better word, a story that Malcolm Gladwell wrote in his book, The Tipping Point, that was really resonated with me regarding full disclosure, I don't know much about New York City. I've been there twice as an adult. Both times as an adult I rode the subway. One time, my friend who was living there at the time, she knows her way around. Last time I went last year with my daughter, and I know subways very well from my city, but I don't know New York City subways. But thank you, Google Maps. They were flawless in getting us around, and I was able to pretty much travel like a native New Yorker, I guess you could say, because people were asking me how to get around. I'm like, I can barely figure this out myself. But anyway, so he was sharing a story about a time where I did not ride the subway in New York, which was in the 80s, and how the subways in New York City were filled with graffiti, crime, just all sorts of it sounded like pandemonium and mayhem. So what happened was that New York City hired a what's going to call it Metro. I'm thinking DC. New York City Transit chief of police, I forgot the name escapes me, and I know how I am. It's going to pop up eventually, but I know William Bratton, I think was his name, because I know he eventually became the chief of police in Los Angeles, and I remember him at the time I was living out there. So, he ended up deciding that he was going to fight crime by really cracking down on the graffiti on the trains, because he was saying back in the 80s, the trains were covered in graffiti from head to toe, and it was just a mess. People were looking at him like he was crazy, like, we have bigger fish to fry other than this graffiti issue. Come on, let's fight crime. Let's put on our Spider-Man cape or our Superman cape and, get this taken care of. He was like, no, I'm going to start with something small. I'm going to work my way up. So, despite most people saying he was crazy, he really cracked down on the graffiti and, made people pay. Then he started, as far as pay tickets, what have you. Then he started cracking down on people who evaded the fare, jump the turnstile and, the little things. And all in all, he started to see that it would trickle down into the bigger issues of the big crimes on New York City subways, whether it was like assault, rape, robbery, I guess murder. I'm assuming somebody probably got killed on the subway before. And so it had me thinking, right, what little changes could we make in our own life that could trickle into something larger? So, I was thinking to myself, when have I made a little change that trickled into something a lot more bigger? And I'm sure I did. Well, I decided to start doing it now, like starting to listen to things at night, meditation. I think I shared last week or maybe in a previous episode, ever since we've been, quote unquote, locked down, I don't sleep as well as I used to. Not to say, honestly, ever since I've had children, my sleeping hasn't been the same. But, it's really gotten worse. Like in the middle of the night, just like things that weren't really characteristic of me. Like I like to sleep with the fan on, which was something I never liked to do up until maybe 6 months ago. Whereas even now, like it's getting cooler over in this beautiful mid-Atlantic state where I live, and I still want my fan on at night, so I don't know, like little changes. I'm thinking, well, maybe I could start making changes in what I eat. So, after I finished Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point, I started reading a book, and I'll might share more about it. We'll see, about the ketogenic diet, And full transparency, I think I tried something similar, the Atkins diet, a long, long, long time ago, to various degrees of success. So, I don't know. But, like, what can you do to make a little change in your life? I feel like we get so stuck in our routine. I mean, I feel majorly I've been stuck in my routine. Even now, like, I have the hardest time getting up early in the morning and going for a walk. I want to do it so badly every morning. But then when the time comes, I just want to lay in bed, or the devil is the phone. I'll roll over and start scrolling on my phone for social media, or to read the news, or to listen to the news. Shout out to NPR. And it's like by the time I'm done with that, I'm too late for the walk, or some other excuse. So I need to challenge myself on that component, to start getting up, going to bed, getting up earlier and going to bed later. I know my last episode that I was going to say taped, but I taped it, I guess, in old school. I did it late at night, and the next day I spent like 20 minutes editing all my yawns because I was so tired. And I'm like, okay, that's not good. So let me go ahead. Even today, I'm taping this episode at 5 p.m. Hopefully have it edited and ready to run tomorrow morning. We'll see if that happens, hopefully. So think about, what are some changes? I know I'm going to challenge myself to do that. Small changes that could lead to big results. Sounds like fitness, but but yeah, like for real, like what can you do? Because I feel kind of inspired, and I guess the tipping point, that was the whole point of the book, to feel motivated to, start small and snowball it to something larger. All right, so that's just my thought on that. Pretty good book. Definitely can tell it's not for everybody. There were times I was a little, I hate to use the B word, but bored with it. But overall, it was pretty good. So out of 5 stars, I give it 4. Pretty good quality. Not for everybody, but for me. So yeah. All right. We'll go on to our next segment. All right, next segment 2. What's going on? I'm back. So I shared with you, I was rocking and rolling last week and doing a phenomenal job, in my own opinion, with user testing. Like, when I say phenomenal job, I made, since the beginning of October, I would say about $120, like extreme part-time, doing user testing. And that was probably the best I've ever done with user testing. So, full disclosure, part 2, of course, there's always a second part. So I did mention I was rocking and rolling and doing great things with user testing, right? So I'm like, that was so nice. I'm going to try it twice. So this week, here I go into the week thinking I'm going to make more money. Yay. This week, I have made a full $10. $10 off of user testing. I was kind of disappointed. No, not even kind of. I was disappointed. I thought I was going to be making buku money again. I was like on a roll. So to walk away with just $10 thus far is very, very disappointing. So the good news is that I have something on the horizon that pays. It's going to take up more of my time, but I will be making more money doing that. So it's like, yay. The bad news is I need to be patient, because it's takes a lot of process, and all the other stuff is not going to happen quickly. Even with user testing, you didn't get paid immediately. You would have to wait a full 7 days. I'm already thinking ahead. This is like mid-October, 2 months away from Christmas, 2.5 months away from the end of this interesting year. I know last week I shared my thoughts on 2020, but I also have like a sub thought about it, if that's really a word. We're all like, we can't wait till this year's over. It's horrible, blase, blah, skip, skip. What would happen if 2021 is worse? I don't think a lot of people have thought about that. But me and my abstract mind have definitely thought about that before. And I'm like, I don't know if we really should feel like we're in a super rush to get this year over. Because who knows what could be lingering in January. I mean, we have a lot going on. We have an election next month in November. This is not a political show, but I will make my political beliefs known. I am not a Donald Trump fan. Zero zilch. I'm not getting into I will get. I don't feel like getting into my reasons why. I'm transparent. I'm not really a Joe Biden fan either. Not really. I will be voting for him. But I'm not going to lie, I'm not excited about it. But it's one of those anything but situations. Yeah, there's that. But going back into, and that's another thing, you get people making comments, you're political. I'm like, if I have a platform, honey, I'm going to use it. I'm not going to sit here and play safe and be like, well, in general, I want to make my money. No Michael Jordan here. You like me, you like me. If you don't, I believe this, I'm not going to hide it or be ashamed. I'm going to be neutral. No, not going to do that. Sorry. No, actually, I'm not sorry. But yeah. So in any case, now I've lost my train of thought. But I was going, about user testing. So, it's not a good week with user testing. So I've been toying with other money-making, I hate to say schemes, but schemes is the word I'm thinking of. So I'm going to talk about TinkerEd, which is probably one of the first platforms that I was using, online to make real extra money. And TinkerEd, I was actually doing okay for a while, but it kind of, just went quiet on me. But I get this random email, was it 2 days ago or a day ago, about them, and I went ahead and did the questionnaire and wait and see what's going to happen. They remind me of all the, I wasn't planning on talking about this today. Maybe I'll make a more in-depth episode about it, but like market testing groups, where I've done those before, where you actually have to leave your home and go somewhere. I remember one time I went far, like I live in suburban DC and on the Maryland side. I had to go into Virginia, like way into Virginia, and ended up paying, I want to say it was $200. They gave you a $200 gift card. We signed a non-disclosure form, so I know I can't explain too much other than it had to do with the legal system or like a lawsuit. And they took up quite a bit, not that much time. I would say it was from like 5 p.m. to about 8 p.m. $200 is pretty good for that. Just 1, 2, 3 hours, So it was worth my time to leave. I've actually been called to be on other marketing panels, but my issue has always been I don't want to leave home. Let's rewind. Before COVID, that is. Before COVID, I was called on marketing panels that where I have to leave my house and meet places, meet up with a group of people at places. And like I said, I was just always hesitant because I didn't want to have to leave the house. I try to find things I can do online. But they pay, if you're interested. I think I'll go into more depth about it on another episode. But, that's one of the many, many side hustles, multiple streams of income. I can go on and on that I have. And even still, it still is not enough. But That's that. All right, let's go on to our next segment. Hey, segment 3. Let's talk about, I guess this is more of a rants and raves segment because I had on the show rundown, I was going to talk about self-care, but I think that'll be more appropriate next week because I have been having, and I think I mentioned this before, a lot of issues ever since we've gone virtual at my job with shoulder and neck pain. And I'm kind of excited, but maybe not excited. Relieved is more the word. I will be going back to my chiropractor, so I'm hoping that they can like cure me or at least make my shoulders and back feel a lot more comfortable. Like today, I ran out and got like a little cheapy massage from the mall because I couldn't take it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weak as I get older. But my head felt like it was just like so heavy on my neck. It's hard to explain, but I've been trying everything under the sun, and I'm about to get into my next segment about this, right? So, I remember, here's a quick story. A couple of years ago, for Christmas, I got one of those round, I think it's called Echo, items that you use in your house, and it's supposed to, like, you're gonna, like Alexa, I guess you could say, like, Alexa, can you blah, blah, blah? She's like, sure. Da, 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 da. Well, I wasn't excited about that when we initially got it. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know. I'm not that lazy. If there's something I want to know, I'll just Google it, right? And then my husband at the time was like, he wasn't feeling it either. He straight unplugged it, right? And I remember a couple, maybe months or years later, when I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, I believe is his full last name. I can take Gary Vee in small doses. I like him. He's a little foul in the mouth department, but even that doesn't bother me per se. It's just, I like him overall. I'll just leave it at that. And he was talking about how people were hesitant to use these devices because their mentality is, well, the government, I don't want them listening to me. And he retorted, they already are. And you know what? I 100% agree. They really are. And my evidence with that kind of goes back to what I was saying before about my shoulders and back bothering me. Because on my social media feeds, Facebook and Instagram, I get all of these like items, gadgets, gizmos for when you need body relief. Like I got a massage gun that keeps like popping up on my Instagram. Then I have this one guy who, honestly, I wish I did have the money to buy this. He's so soothing. He's like this. He has like a aerial yoga type program, and he sells this like aerial yoga. I feel like I'm saying the word wrong. Yoga contraption. I don't know the proper word. And he's always talking about how it makes his back and shoulders feel better, and you align the spine for full range of motion. Like, he really has me hype. I'm like, I wish I had the money to and the space, because I'm living in small quarters at the moment, to invest in this, because I want my spine to be realigned too. I want to feel good. Like, I wish I knew this gentleman's name, but he's a good marketer. I'll give him that. Unfortunately, I don't have the money to pay for his items. But he has me hyped when I watch it on Instagram. And they are definitely, the government, whoever you want to shake your finger at, is watching you. Like, for real. I don't want to sound like crazy lady, but I guess I sound like crazy lady. They're watching you. They really are. And the funny thing about it is, back when we were truly locked down COVID and I had a little extra income, I wanted to buy candles. Like, I love candles, right? And I kept talking. I know I didn't put any Facebook posts or anything about it, and I mentioned candles. Do you know all of my Facebook feed was nothing but candles, right? So then I go ahead and I make a Facebook post to my friends. Like, since apparently somebody's watching me, I am looking for soy candles, not just any run-of-the-mill candle, but a soy-based candle. Do you know that bad boy the next day had a whole bunch of Soy Candles on the Facebook feed for me? And I'm like, I can't say this is scary because I already figured it out that we're being watched, but okay. Interesting. So now that I have a platform, be it small, but a platform nevertheless, for requests, I'm putting out there, I need millions of dollars. I don't want to get out of debt. I don't need millions of dollars to get out of debt, but I guess if the government's listening, or at least give me money, jobs that will pay millions of dollars yearly or something. I don't know, but I am definitely being watched, or at the very least being heard. So I don't know. It's just something for you, kind of like a takeaway. It's one of those things. Is like I said, I know. I'm very confident that this is occurring. So, yeah, there's that. All right, so we have gotten to the point where we've arrived. I like to say the word arrive. At the end of the show, it's always my goal to keep the shows under 30 minutes, unless I have a guest. I have to say I'm really excited that my listenership has ballooned. That's a good feeling, a really good feeling. So please make sure that you, like I requested at the top of the show, review the show, follow me on social media. It definitely is helpful because the more people that listen, the more I can attempt to get something annoying, which is called advertisers, but advertisers would help pay for the show. Fantasy would be nice, but yeah. And I will keep coming back to you weekly. Hopefully, I will try my best for it to be the same day, but weekly is the ultimate goal. Let me know you're out there. I'd love to hear from you. And with all that being said, have a phenomenal week. Bye, beautiful.